Hey guys, happy first day of spring. It is mid-April. It's midnight. Senioritis is in full effect. I just finished recording myself do a dance head to toe for my Zumba class. And it was one of those activities, that you do. And it really makes you stop dead in your tracks. And it triggers like a very long, hard, introspective look at your life and what you do with your time. It's spring, and spring cleaning is very important. If you're white, spring cleaning is, donating all your ugly clothes to the Salvation Army and pretending that you made a difference. If you're black, it's your mom playing really loud music and screaming at you on Sunday morning. But I really think we all need a good spring cleaning. Not for our physical... Well, clean yourself, obviously, and not for my room either, because my room is spotless, unlike you dirty. But I think we all need a good spring cleaning for our soul. So I thought, what better way to kind of rid myself of this funk that I've been going through with the stress of my last year of high school. By the way, everyone told me that this would be a blast. Oh, once you hit April, now every time I open Instagram, I see a post that's like, hey, you know that one guy you went to high school with? He was the worst, right? Yeah, he got into Princeton. I'm doing this because I hope it will help me. I doubt it will. Being alive is immensely embarrassing, and being a kid is extremely lonely, and a lot of these stories are the perfect mix of the two. A good amount of these things happened well over 10 years ago, and since we're nearly halfway into the 2020s, some of these stories are getting to 10 years ago. These still keep me up at night, and I don't think I'm in the wrong on any of them, nor am I in the wrong really on anything. But I found that talking out my problems or things that bother me actually does tend to help, which is a shame because I really like being a contrarian and a jerk whenever anyone tells me to change the way I live. Oh, who knew that spending your entire life online would actually make you feel bad? Actually, let me turn off my light for some ambiance. This looks like a video that you'd see on Lively. So this first story takes place in the 8th grade, and I kind of have to set the scene a little bit. You need the full context to understand my hatred of this woman. In 7th grade, our principal was leaving, so they were looking for a replacement. I remember in 7th grade, there was a day where a bunch of grown adults came to our lunchroom and were just walking around observing us, which in retrospect is a little strange because I'm not sure what part of the job requires. So 8th grade comes along and we get this new principal, and she is not playing around. She makes it very clear from the first day that this is a new domain. No more funny games. No more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm cracking down. She was the worst principal I've ever had. Now that it's 8th grade and we're inching towards high school and our teenage years, a lot of these kids are joining gangs, getting access to weapons. You mix hormones with the sociopathy that comes with being a child, and you get hell. Guns, fights, alcohol, drugs, tasers, knives, machetes. So do you know where her main focus was? Do you know what her first and her main focus was? She would walk around the halls, and if you're wearing a do-rag, you gotta take that off. Honestly, I think we should get her in the White House. I think the crime rate would brrr if she was there because, oh my God, that is genius. Kids are getting sexually assaulted, getting sexually harassed, beaten, people getting arrested on campus, people drinking on campus, punching women in the face. But hey man, those look like sweatpants to me. Those are not the slacks that we have on our website. Hey, we spent a lot of time using Wix.com to make that website, okay? You better abide by its laws. And to be fair, she was a pretty militant principal. She was always roaming the halls. It was pretty annoying. She was always behind you. Wherever you went, you turned around, there you go. She was always behind you, and she was always talking to you. And one thing I really hate, this is a petty grievance 1.5. One thing I really hate is when people have no sense of the time that it is. If I'm not dying, my mom's not dying, my dad's not dying, I don't even care if I'm failing. You're trying to, please don't talk to me. When people talk to me in the morning, I kind of just, but she's always behind you and she's always telling you about something. I don't care about you or really anything you're saying to me. This lady, she had it out for me. She had this little mind game she would play with me. And listen, I am the master. I know when people are trying to, trying to get in, you're not going to win. I keep telling people, I've never told someone this in my life. School would start at 8. I would walk in at 8. I haven't missed the late bell. The bell hasn't rung yet. I walk into school. I have my backpack on. Actually, maybe sometimes I think maybe I'm the problem. So you guys tell me, okay? If you see me, backpack on, 8 a.m., walking diligently in the hallway where there's nothing in this hallway but doors to classrooms, where do you think I'm going? What do you think I'm going to do? Eureka! I'm going to class! Tell me why. Every time this lady saw me, she had to ask me, where are you going? Don't say she's stupid, because she's not stupid. She knows what she is very shrewd what she's done. She's intentionally asking me questions that she knows will piss me off. So after asking me where I'm going, to pour salt on the wound just to pinch me in my privates, she'll say, get to class. Just to remind you, hey, you're an ant. I'm the law around here. I'm your god. So she'll ask me where I'm going. I'll say class. Get to class. So she has interfered into a system working perfectly, addressed a non-issue, fixed it without doing any. I'm going to class. Why are you asking me where I'm going? Where do you think I'm going? If I was skipping, I would leave. And then when I tell you I'm going to class, you tell me to go to class. So now I'm not going to class because I want to go to class. I'm going to class because you told me to go to class. And that is a genius way of making someone remember that they are small, that they are nothing. And she did that. And I can't do anything, because if I do, I'll get written up, I'll get suspended. But she can be as rude as she wants, because honestly, if I had said any of those very graphic and brutal words, honestly, to me, that is nowhere near as effective as you doing that to me. A, you strip me of my agency. B, you're giving me an order when there was none needed. And then there's this smug, a lot of adults, especially parents, do this. It's this very smug and very condescending thing where, like, they won't be paying attention to you. They won't be watching what you're doing, but they'll come in, they'll yell, and they'll think that they did a good job. And not only that, but they'll pat themselves on the back like, oh, I just did my job as a parent or educator. And that's one of the things I really hate. That happened 5 years ago. So one day I had gotten in trouble for something, can't remember what. I was a difficult kid, but to be honest, I was getting in trouble for breathing. I think I'd gotten a call home, or I'd gotten some negative note on a report card, and my parents were frantically calling the school trying to figure out what was going on. And they called, and I don't know why, but she picked up, I guess, for a school that was draining so much money out of my mother's bank account. They can't afford a secretary. So she picked up, and I let out like the biggest sigh of relief. I'm like, I love this teacher so much. She has me engaged like no other teacher does. I never care about any of these stupid teachers' work, but I really loved her, and I was so thankful, because if there was anyone that could speak to my strengths, it would be her. So she picked up, and I'm like, yes, she's gonna tell them that I'm a good kid, just things that I want them to hear, because I never really noticed when I'm doing something wrong when I'm doing it, when I was younger at least. I was hyper, sure, and I know sometimes when I was laughing a lot. People were making me laugh. It wasn't even my... So they ask her, like, how I'm doing. I'm like, yes, thank God. And she goes, Tiger is a distraction in class. And she basically goes on and she says everything that everyone else says. And that really shocked me, because she never indicated any kind of issue with my behavior before. Everyone else was like pretty obvious that they were fed up with me when I was acting like that, but she always seemed to like me, so it was kind of a shock. This video is starting to get pretty sad, and I don't like that. A quick joke to lighten the mood. Why did the chicken cross the road to reach his son, who got into a 12-car pileup right across the street? Anyway, on top of that, she told my parents that I was like talking about sex. I remember the look I got from them. They were like, what? Context, it was 2012, and the most critically acclaimed rap pop group, EDM group of all time, LMFAO, had just dropped their multi-platinum hit, Sexy and I Know It. And hey, That was a real earworm, okay? I may have been in class doing my work, and it's possible a spare I'm sexy and I know it, or two might have popped out. Kill me, okay? Is it such a crime? Is it such a crime? Apparently to her it was. Instead of telling my parents that I was singing a song, she told my parents that I was talking about sex and how sexy I am. And when you're a kid, you probably remember this, your parents don't really listen to you. Your parents don't actually really see you as a human. So when you say something, it doesn't really matter. So when I'm saying, hey, I don't even really know what sex is, which was a lie, I knew what sex was. When I tried to tell them that's not what I was talking about, they didn't really care because the teacher said that I was, and the teacher's words matter more. And that was kind of a shock. That was kind of a blow to the heart. I wonder what she's doing nowadays. She's probably dead. She was like 70, so yeah, no, there's no way she's alive. I'm sure she's in heaven. Maybe in purgatory for a little bit for what she did to me, but then she'll go to heaven. Rest in peace. I forgot her name. The moral of that story is to only build negative or neutral relationships with people so that when they disappoint you, you don't care. And that's how you survive in America. Another story, second grade now. I'm in the lunchroom. I have a teacher. I remember her name. I'm not going to say it though. I actually saw her like a few years ago. She's nice. She had two twins that went to the same school. I think they were a year above me. I was in the lunchroom just minding my business, threw my trash out. I walked past them. I think maybe one of us said something to him, or maybe we looked. I don't remember what happened, but not what they said. It's no issue. I didn't have an issue. Honestly, it wasn't even really an interaction. I threw my trash out, went to class, and I got pulled out of class, and I remember just everyone around me, like teachers, I think the principal, the kids, and I think the mom/teacher, and they're asking me, like they're interrogating me, like they said that you bullied them, they said that you like pushed them or threw their food on the ground or something like that. And honestly, I think it's moments like that when I was a kid that really created this like distrust in my own mind. There was a lot of times where people were telling me I did something, and maybe I did do it. Even that, like, I don't remember doing it. Maybe I did do it. I know for sure I didn't do it intentionally, but now I'm like really thinking, like, did I do that? Like, am I crazy? Am I like that dude from Fight Club? I'm like, is there like a different me in my head that is doing all these things I don't know about? Or are these people just either lying on me, being dismissive of me, misunderstanding me, and not taking the time to actually listen to me or understand why I'm doing the things I'm doing, or taking into account that I'm 7 years old? So yeah, I told them I didn't do it. I told them you can check the cameras, I didn't do it. They didn't really believe me, especially because of my track record. The other day I was with my friend and we were at the bakery and I was telling him some of these stories, and he just had one word for me, and it was racism. And the more I say these stories out loud, the more I'm like, those children did have a bit of a KKK sheen to them.
I wanna kill my mom! I wanna kill my dad!
First grade, it's report card day, and I always dreaded report card day because I would do great academically. I would ace all my tests and school was a breeze to me. But when it came to the behavioral aspects, I was a very frequent recipient of the easily distracted mark. Who'd have thought that my parents, who were spending a small fortune on an overpriced, crappy school, wouldn't really like that their 7-year-old is using his education as a platform for an amateur comedy routine? I made extra sure to be good that day. I remember, I was like, it was a conscious effort of me to not do anything that gave my teacher ammunition for my parents to use against me in the form of a belt. But yeah, I really tried. Because that teacher would always say that I am my own worst enemy. And my dad would always remind me that she said that, which I used to think was pretty poignant. I thought it was cool, but now that I'm older, I feel like that's a bit of an excessive thing to say to a 6-year-old. That's like a line straight out of The Dark Knight. What are you talking about? By the way, I'm okay. One day I saw that woman. We were in the library, and she would always go to behind the library, and she would always say like, "Hey, don't follow me, or don't look." One day, I out of curiosity, I looked, and she was completely naked. Like, she was head to toe naked, not wearing not even socks. I remember I was walking to the back of the class where the books were, maybe to pick up a book or go back. I don't know, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't, and you don't care. You're probably not even watching me speak. And you're probably so used to this stupid gimmick of YouTubers pretending that they see into your camera that you're not even looking at me right now because you're not falling for it, and maybe you are looking at me now because I'm going a little too. On my way, like, back to my desk, there's this kid, and I swear to God, maybe, I don't know, because, again, I was gaslit so much in my life that I don't even trust my own memory, so I'm betting on your life. I gave the kid a fist bump. I just gave him a... That looks like I punched him. Yeah, I was confident. I went home like, I'm gonna nail this thing. On the way back to the school, they're asking me, like, is there anything that the teacher is gonna tell me about? Is there anything new that you have done that I should know now before the teacher breaks it to me? Don't embarrass me. And I was like, no, Dad, I am a good boy. I feel like this is one of those stories that, like, you tell your friends expecting a laugh and they all, like, look at you like... So we go over to the conference, and sure, I'm expecting some comments here and there about how I'm this and that. Not from today, though. But she mentions my fist bump from today, and she, like, talks about it for a good amount of time. She framed it like I was harassing him or distracting him. Yeah, my dad was mad at me. He's like, I asked you, is there anything new? But then again, like, hey man, I didn't really expect a fist bump to be brought up as a disciplinary issue. Maybe that's an oversight on my end.
I'm on Blog TV with my...
Third grade, we had a new teacher. She was nice for the most part, but now I'm thinking about it, she's nice in, like, the fake nice way. Like, she probably preaches love and votes for Ron DeSantis. We had show and tell for the first time. You know, I hadn't really experienced much of what kids experience. I had never had a play date. I've never been to anyone's house. I went to one party in the third grade, almost died, and most of my enjoyment was through watching shows that I had no business watching. Thanks, Lena Dunham. My show and tell was like a soccer trick or something. I remember this was around the time of the World Cup, and I had gotten a brand new soccer ball. It's not that I didn't have a lot as a kid. It's that, I learned from a very young age that you should never ask your parents for anything, because once your relationship sours, they will immediately use it against you. And I like to be right when I fight with people. I'm kind of a jerk like that. So if I'm arguing with you and I'm hitting all the bases and then you're like, remember when I bought you this? Now I feel like I'm dependent on you, and that's going to make me want to throw up my innards. I love this soccer ball so much. It wasn't FIFA regulation or anything. I'm sure if you presented the players that ball in Qatar or wherever the last World Cup happened, they'd probably drag you out back and, you know, but it was beautiful to me. I was even scared to bring it with me to school because I didn't even want to mess it up. I just, like, wanted to keep it perfect forever, which is an issue I still have. I mean, tell that to all the unworn shoes in my closet. So I brought my new soccer ball, and I brought my old, dirty, ugly soccer ball. I was going to demonstrate to the class how to do, like, a special trick. I didn't know how to do any trick. I barely knew how to kick. And the teacher goes, hey, Tiger, why don't you give the new ball to them? And it's one of those insidious things where it's like a question that's not really a question, because you can't really say no to that. There are certain questions people ask you that aren't really questions. They're demands, because if you say no, now you look like the worst person in the world. Communism, socialism, we love planet Earth, yada, yada, yada. Okay? I don't understand what the difference makes. Sure, it's a little bit petty, but it's my ball. I don't have to give you anything. That's something I really, really hate. I really hate when you have something and people feel like you're entitled to it. I don't have to give you anything. If I give you it, it's because I'm nice. I don't owe it to you. So I gave them the good ball. This happened 10 years ago, and I remember it like it was last month. The first thing this kid does is he takes his dirty, dingy, muddy, nasty shoe, and he puts it right on the ball to, like, park the ball. And I get you want to park the ball if you're playing it, but we're not even moving. You don't have to put your foot on the ball. And I'm like, hey, maybe don't step on the ball. And he's like, that's how you do it in FIFA. Sorry, I was looking for the stands. I was looking for Messi. Sorry, where's your badge? Where's your jersey? Where are we?
Alex!
More stories from show and tell. Everyone brought a food item. This one girl brought Rice Krispies, and it really pissed me off because it was clearly not Rice Krispies. It was the fake dollar store version called Crispy Rice, and it's like, it's fine if you can't afford or you're too lazy to get Rice Krispies. Just don't call it Rice Krispies. Don't insult my intelligence and say it's Rice Krispies when I'm looking directly at it, when you have it in front of me, and it's not Rice Krispies. It says Crispy Rice on it. So why are you calling it Rice Krispies? That I could call Kellogg right now and get you out of here. You know that? All the people had their foods, and I wasn't really excited to eat any of them because they all looked really gross, and I don't trust children making food because a lot of these people piss and poop without washing their hands. But what I was really excited for were the teachers' cupcakes. Now, I got sent out of class for something. I don't know, maybe I was laughing, not paying attention, yada yada yada, whatever, what have you. I think you get it at this point. So I'm sitting in a room alone for like 10-15 minutes. I don't remember when I needed to use the bathroom. I think it started before, but like either I got ignored or I didn't raise my hand. Either way, I needed to release piss. Yet the piss was still within me. I got the okay to come back to class, and I really need to pee. I didn't want to hold up the class any longer, so I just slipped off to the bathroom just for a minute, just to pee and go back. I didn't dilly-dally. I walked back in that classroom. You'd have thought there was an Amber Alert. You'd have thought I was working with Al-Qaeda. I was getting surrounded by press, paparazzi. You'd have thought I was Captain America at the end of Captain America, the First Avenger. They were acting like I've been gone for 84 years. I was out for 5 minutes max. Probably 3. Piss is not that hard to get out of you. No, sorry. I explained like, hey, I was there. I just went to go to the bathroom first. And she was like, why didn't you ask me? And I was like, I really need to go to the bathroom. And I don't really see the point in passing the bathroom to go to your class, waiting for the person to stop talking, then asking you, hey, can I pee? And then going back to the bathroom and then coming back and missing more food. I'll never forget the tone she said it. She said it in like a tone that kind of felt like this is hurting me more than it hurts you kind of thing, where she was like, unfortunately, I can't give you any cupcakes, I'm sorry, unfortunately. So I had to sit in the back and watch as everyone ate those cupcakes, and I didn't. I sat and I watched, and I think like a kid got an extra cupcake or something, my cupcake, because I had to piss. In second grade, I had a pencil sharpener, as you do. Inside of the pencil sharpener, believe it or not, were pencil shavings. Now, I wanted to keep the pencil shavings. Don't ask me all these questions. I was 7 years old, and I think now that I'm older, I'm realizing that it was more of like a desperate attempt at having some kind of agency or autonomy. I gave my friend the pencil sharpener because he wanted to borrow it, and he was about to empty the pencil shavings. I'm sounding a bit neurotic and wound up, but I'm a very understandable person, guys. I get it, but if I, the owner, am saying don't empty the pencil shavings, it's like, okay, you want to be nice, sure, but I own it. It's my pencil shaving, and you might be like, hey, it's just pencil shavings. It doesn't matter. It could be a speck of dust. It's my speck of dust. I decide what happens to the speck of dust. He's emptying out the pencil shavings, and I'm like, no, don't. And she's like, yeah, empty out his pencil shaving. And it's like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, am I crazy? Like, I might just be petty. It doesn't matter what it is. It's mine. So if I don't want you to empty out the pencil shavings, it's my pencil shavings, and it's my sharpener. I just lent you my sharpener. And now you're acting like you have control over it. You don't control what you do with the sharpener. It's my sharpener. It's mine. Like, am I nuts? Sure, it seems insignificant, and it is, but it's mine. It doesn't matter if you deem it insignificant or not. It's not your sharpener. It's possible there may have been a struggle. I think it was actually 2 kids. I think it escalated into a whole thing. I think this shaving saga escalated into a whole didgeridoo, and the sharpenings fell on the ground. And then the teacher's like, okay, empty the shavings. So I didn't even empty the shavings. So the other kid took my sharpener, went to the trash, and emptied my shavings. As if I hadn't said anything at all. I don't even think the kid said thank you. If I see that kid, I'm gonna kill him. Well, on one hand, I feel a lot better. And on the other hand, I'm thinking about stories that have had quite significant impact on my psychological health and my behaviors to this day. And now I'm thinking about them from both an older point of view and the unhealed young version of myself. And now I'm feeling both rage and amusement, and I think all of those feelings have kind of canceled each other out and brought me back to a state of indifference where I've lived and resided since 2018. Hey, feel free to tell me if I'm a sociopath or if I'm the problem in any of these scenarios. But it's 1:30 a.m. They were my pencil shavings. Like, I don't understand.